Tuesday, March 14, 2019. 2:47 p.m. 40,000 feet. The autopilot failed. Both pilots went down. 271 people had no one flying their plane. A Navy SEAL stood up to help. But a 13-year-old girl in seat 9C was already opening her seatbelt. She was already walking forward. She was already flying. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. CNN anchor David Park looks straight into the camera. His face is calm. But his eyes are not. David Park, we are getting breaking reports right now about an emergency on American Airlines Flight 1776. The flight was going from New York JFK to Miami, Florida. 271 passengers were on board. The plane declared an emergency at around 2:51 p.m. Eastern Time today, Tuesday, March 14, 2019, somewhere over the Virginia coast. What we know right now, and this is not yet confirmed, is that both pilots are down. They cannot fly the plane. What we do not know, and this is the part that is making our aviation team very nervous, is who is flying this aircraft right now. We go to our reporter at Reagan National Airport, Sarah Mitchell. Sarah, what are you hearing? Tuesday, March 14, 2019. 2:51 p.m. Eastern Time. 40,000 feet. Virginia coast. 271 passengers. No autopilot. No pilots. And a 13-year-old girl in seat 9C. Red hoodie. A notebook full of aircraft drawings. Who had not yet decided what to do. She decided in the next 47 seconds. Local anchor Michelle Hayes, breaking news out of Virginia Beach tonight. NAS Oceana, that is Naval Air Station Oceana, has scrambled military aircraft. F/A-18 Super Hornets and F-22 Raptors have been sent up to escort a commercial plane. American Airlines 1776. That plane declared an emergency about 15 minutes ago. Our sources at NAS Oceana are saying tonight, that this situation is unlike anything they have ever seen before. We cannot confirm the full details yet. But one source, speaking without giving their name, said these exact words. It's a kid. And she knows what she's doing. The clock says 2:47 p.m. The plane has been in the air for 1 hour and 23 minutes. Outside the windows, the sky is completely clear. Perfectly blue. Not one single cloud. The Virginia coast is visible far below, Greenland, then the dark blue of the Atlantic Ocean. Beautiful weather. Perfect flying conditions. The kind of day where nothing is supposed to go wrong. The weather report that morning said, clear skies over the Virginia coast. Visibility unlimited. Light winds. Perfect conditions. That report was correct. The weather did not cause what happened next. Everything is normal. Then, it isn't. The autopilot fails. Not with a big crash. Not with fire. Just a small lurch. Almost nothing. Like a car hitting a small bump in the road. Most passengers don't even feel it. Some of them are asleep. Some are watching movies. The sky outside is still perfect. Still blue. Still clear. That is the terrifying part. Nothing outside warned them. The danger came from inside. But 3 people in row 9 feel it immediately. Seat 9C, Lily Hayes, 13 years old. She has her earphones in. She is drawing in her notebook. She draws a Boeing 737-800. Every line perfect. Every detail correct. She learned these from her father. She always draws planes. She feels the lurch. She pulls one earphone out. Her eyes move to the instrument panel area. She knows. Without seeing it. She just knows. Seat 9B, Marcus Webb, 31 years old. He is a Navy SEAL. Chief Petty Officer. Active duty. He is traveling to NAS Oceana in civilian clothes, jeans, a dark jacket. He has been watching Lily since JFK Airport. Not in a scary way. In a protective way. He has a daughter at home. Her name is Maya. She is 13 years old. Same age as Lily. He saw the unaccompanied minor tag around Lily's neck when they boarded. He noticed her notebook. All aircraft drawings. He thought, aviation kid. He feels the lurch. Navy SEAL training fires immediately. His eyes scan the plane. His body gets ready. Seat 9A, Oliver Thompson, 52 years old. He is from London, England. Retired from the Royal Air Force. 30 years of flying. He put down his magazine the moment the plane moved. His eyes went straight to the cockpit door. He has been in enough aircraft emergencies to know. That lurch was not normal turbulence. 3 people in row 9. All felt the same thing. For different reasons. Then the alarm starts. Soft at first. Then louder. Then a sound from behind the cockpit door. Then nothing. 3 people in row 9 felt the autopilot fail. A Navy SEAL. A retired RAF pilot. A 13-year-old girl. Only one of them knew exactly what to do about it. She was already opening her seatbelt. BBC anchor James Cooper, good evening. BBC World News is following a developing situation in the United States tonight. An American Airlines aircraft, Flight 1776, traveling from New York to Miami, has declared an emergency over the state of Virginia. Both pilots are reported to be incapacitated. The aircraft, a Boeing 737-800 carrying 271 passengers, is currently being escorted by United States Navy fighter jets. Now, and I want to be very clear that this has not been officially confirmed, our Washington correspondent is reporting that the person currently at the controls is a minor. A child. Our correspondent in Washington, Emily Roberts, Emily. BBC Washington correspondent, James, what I can tell you is that American officials are being very quiet tonight. What I can tell you, from a source at Washington Center Air Traffic Control, is that the voice on the emergency radio is young. Very young. And, this is the part that has official Washington completely shocked tonight, she used a call sign. A military call sign. And when she used it, the military escort went completely silent. For 11 seconds. On a live emergency frequency. James, in aviation, 11 seconds of silence on an emergency frequency is an eternity. Something happened in those 11 seconds. We don't know what yet. Let me tell you exactly what happened behind that cockpit door. Because the passengers did not know. The news channels did not know at first. But this is what happened. 2:47 p.m., the electrical fault hits. It is not a small problem. The entire autopilot system goes offline. Every warning light on the panel comes on at once. It looks like a Christmas tree, red and yellow lights everywhere. An alarm starts beeping. Captain Robert Chen, 47 years old, 22 years of flying experience, reaches for the manual controls immediately. He is a professional. He has trained for this. His hands move fast and certain toward the yoke. He never reaches it. At exactly 2:47 p.m. and 34 seconds, Captain Chen's heart stops. A massive cardiac arrest. The doctors would later say it had nothing to do with the flight, he had an undetected heart condition. It could have happened anywhere. On the ground. At home. In a grocery store. It happened here. He slumps forward. Then sideways. His body goes completely still. First Officer Amy Park, 34 years old, 5 years with American Airlines, sees her captain go down. She reaches for the controls with one hand and for the emergency radio with the other. She does not know what has happened to Captain Chin yet. She does not know what is about to happen to her. The electrical fault that killed the autopilot also damaged the cockpit oxygen system. Just the cockpit, not the cabin. The passengers behind that door are breathing perfectly fine. But up front, the oxygen levels are dropping fast. Amy Park does not feel it at first. Hypoxia, oxygen deprivation, does not hurt. It does not announce itself. It just quietly takes your ability to think. Then your ability to act. Then your consciousness. At 2:48 p.m., she manages one partial radio call. Washington Center picks up fragments. Enough to know something is wrong. Not enough to know how wrong. At 2:49 p.m., her movements become slow. Confused. She is trying to fly the aircraft. She does not understand why her hands are not doing what she tells them. At 2:50 p.m., she is unconscious. At 2:51 p.m., the Boeing 737-800, 271 passengers, clear skies over the Virginia coast, is flying itself. For now. But without autopilot, an aircraft does not fly straight forever. It drifts. Slowly at first. Then more. The altitude is decaying. The heading is shifting south. Every second that passes, the situation gets worse. The plane has maybe 8 to 10 minutes before the drift becomes a crisis. Nobody in the cabin knows this yet. Except, possibly, one person. In seat 9C. In a red hoodie. With a notebook full of aircraft drawings. Who just pulled out one earphone. And is staring at nothing. Thinking everything. 2:52 p.m. Flight attendant Jennifer Ross gets on the intercom. She is 29 years old. From Miami, Florida. 5 years with American Airlines. In those 5 years she has dealt with sick passengers, a minor turbulence emergency, one drunk passenger who had to be restrained, and a medical situation where a doctor on board helped an elderly man. She has never dealt with this. Her training said, if both pilots are incapacitated, ask for aviation experience on board. That is what she does. Her voice is steady. She is proud of how steady it is. Her hands are shaking hard. But her voice, steady. Jennifer, ladies and gentlemen, this is your flight attendant Jennifer. I need to ask, is there anyone on board with aviation experience? Please come forward. This is an emergency. She puts down the intercom. She looks toward the cabin. 2 men are already standing. One large, military-looking, moving fast and sure. One older, British, calm, deliberate. And then, Jennifer sees something that stops her breath for one full second. A girl. A small girl in a red hoodie. She is not rushing. She is not panicking. She is sitting completely still, looking at her notebook. Jennifer can see the notebook from where she stands, it is covered in drawings. Aircraft drawings. Every page. Jennifer can see a Boeing 737 on the open page, and she can see the girl writing something on the blank page beside it. Jennifer cannot read it from this distance. The girl closes the notebook. Puts it carefully in the seat pocket in front of her. Stands up. And Jennifer notices one more thing. The girl's eyes. Not scared. Not confused. Not looking around for help or for someone to tell her what to do. Focused. The same look Jennifer has seen in the eyes of pilots doing pre-flight checks. The same look Jennifer's father had, he was a small plane pilot, when he was doing something he had done 1,000 times before. This girl has that look. Jennifer makes a decision in that moment. She does not fully understand it. She cannot explain it. But she makes it clearly and completely. She steps to the side of the aisle. She opens the cockpit door for the girl. She does not open it for the Navy SEAL. She does not open it for the RAF officer. She opens it for the 13-year-old in the red hoodie. Later, much later, a reporter asks Jennifer, "Why her? Why did you let a child into the cockpit?" Jennifer thinks for a long time before answering. Because the two men looked like they were going to help. She looked like she already knew what to do. There is a difference. I have been a flight attendant for 5 years. I have watched a lot of people walk into difficult situations. Some people go toward a problem. Some people go toward a solution. She was going toward the solution. So I opened the door. Marcus stands up immediately. Combat training. Zero delay. He starts moving toward the front. Oliver stands up. 30 years RAF. He starts moving too. Lily has not moved. She is looking at her notebook. At the last drawing she made, a Boeing 737-800. Perfectly accurate. The cockpit layout. The instrument panel. Every gauge. Every switch. She drew it from memory. Her father showed her every detail when she was 9 years old. He made her draw it over and over. You draw what you know, he told her. And you know what you draw. She opens to the next blank page. Picks up her pen. Writes one thing. Dad, I think today is the day. She puts the notebook carefully in the seat pocket. Then she stands up. Marcus is turning to go forward. He sees Lily standing. Marcus, honey, sit down. I've got this. Oliver, also turning, sees Lily. He sees her eyes. Oliver Thompson, 30 years Royal Air Force, goes very still for 1 full second. He has seen that look before. On experienced pilots. Never on a child. He looks at the notebook in the seat pocket. He can see what she just wrote. He looks at Marcus. Oliver, quiet British voice, every word exact, let her go. Marcus, she's a child. Oliver, she felt the autopilot fail before the alarm went off. Before anyone else in this plane. Before you. Before me. I was watching her. She pulled her earphone out 4 seconds before the alarm. 4 seconds. She knew. And that notebook, every drawing in there is an aircraft. Every single page. Perfectly accurate. That is not a hobby. That is years of training. Let her go. Marcus looks at Lily. He looks at Oliver. He looks toward Jennifer at the cockpit door. Jennifer gives him one small nod. 3 people, a Navy SEAL, a retired RAF officer, and a flight attendant, all made the same decision in the same moment. Marcus steps aside. Lily walks forward. She does not run. She does not hurry. She walks the way her father taught her to approach an aircraft, calm, purposeful, already thinking about what comes next. Jennifer opens the cockpit door. Lily walks through it. The door closes. A Navy SEAL stepped aside for a 13-year-old girl. A retired RAF pilot told him to. And Lily Hayes, Richmond, Virginia, Westover Hills Middle School, was already walking toward the cockpit door. In about 8 minutes, she is going to say 2 words on the radio, that will silence an F/A-18 fighter pilot, for 11 seconds, on a live frequency, broadcast on CNN, watched by the entire world. Subscribe right now. Notifications on. Those 2 words, you need to hear them. Oliver Thompson, retired RAF, 30 years British Air Force, looked at a Navy SEAL, and said, let her go. Marcus Webb, Navy SEAL, combat veteran, stepped aside for a 13-year-old girl. The BBC later called this, the most extraordinary act of trust in aviation history. They were right. CBC anchor Patricia Wong, we are following a developing story out of the United States tonight. Canadian passenger Sarah Chen, 38 years old, a teacher from Toronto, Ontario, is aboard American Airlines 1776, which is currently in an emergency situation over Virginia. Ms. Chen's family has confirmed she is on board. We have received, and we want to be clear this has not been fully verified, a short video that was reportedly filmed by a passenger on the aircraft. In the video, a young girl, she looks about 12 or 13 years old, is seen walking toward the cockpit. A large man, clearly someone with military training, steps aside to let her pass. An older gentleman says something to the larger man. The girl does not look back. She just walks forward. Our aviation expert Dr. Michael Park says, and I'm quoting him, "The way she moves is not the way a child moves. That is the walk of someone who has done this before." Lily opens the cockpit door. She checks both pilots first. That is what her father taught her. Always check your crew first, then the aircraft, in that order, always. Captain Chen, alive. Cardiac arrest. Needs medical help. First Officer Park, alive. Hypoxia. Needs oxygen and medical help. She moves them carefully. The way she was taught. Then she sits in the left seat. She is small. She has to adjust the seat forward. Her feet barely reach the rudders. She looks at the panel. She reads it in 8 seconds. Altitude, 38,000 feet, the plane has lost 2,000 feet already. Airspeed, dropping. Heading, drifting south. Virginia coast below. She takes the controls. The plane steadies. Immediately. Like it was waiting for her. She picks up the radio. Tuesday. March 14, 2019. 2:52 p.m. Eastern. Her father's voice in her head. Breathe first. Then talk. Always breathe first. She breathes. Then she talks. 2:52 p.m. Lily, New York Center, American 1776. Mayday. 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 Autopilot failure. Full crew incapacitation. I have the aircraft. My name is Lily Hayes. I am 13 years old. I am from Richmond, Virginia. My father was Colonel James Hayes, NAS Oceana, F/A-18 Super Hornet. He taught me everything I know. I have 47 hours flight time. I have 271 people behind me. I need help. Over. James Wilson has worked air traffic control for 18 years. He has heard everything. Emergencies. Near misses. Every kind of pilot in trouble. He has never heard this. His hand shakes. Just once. One small shake. Then, he is the most professional he has ever been in his entire career. James, Lily, Washington Center. Copy your mayday. Lily, my name is James. I am right here. I am not going anywhere. Turn left, heading 090, toward the coast. NAS Oceana is your best option. Best runway. Best services. Best help. Lily, you are doing exactly the right thing. Tell me what you need. James Wilson, 18 years, Washington Center, his hand shook once. Just once. Then he was the best ATC controller he had ever been. Because Lily Hayes needed him to be. Fox News anchor Michael Davis, Fox News alert, we can now confirm, a 13-year-old girl, the daughter of a fallen American hero, Colonel James Hayes, United States Air Force, killed in a training accident 2 years ago, is currently at the controls of a commercial Boeing 737 over the coast of Virginia. Colonel Hayes, a decorated F/A-18 pilot at NAS Oceana in Virginia Beach, apparently spent years teaching his daughter everything he knew about flying. Tonight, that training may save 271 lives. We go to our military analyst, Brigadier General Tom Richards, retired, General Richards, what are we looking at here? What we are looking at, Michael, is extraordinary. Colonel James Hayes was one of the finest pilots I ever knew personally. If he taught his daughter the way he flew, then those 271 people are in the best possible hands. I want to say something directly to Lily Hayes, if she can hear this. Your father was a hero. And right now, so are you. 2 F/A-18 Super Hornets launch from NAS Oceana. It takes them 9 minutes from the alarm to wheels up. Lead pilot, Lieutenant Commander Sarah Brooks. She flew with Colonel James Hayes. They flew together many times. She was at his funeral. She was the one who folded the American flag, carefully, precisely, the military way, and walked to the front row where his family sat. Lily was 11 years old. Sarah placed the folded flag in Lily's small hands. She looked at the girl and said, "Your father was the best I ever flew with." Lily looked up at her and said, "I know." Now, 2 years later, Sarah pulls her F/A-18 alongside AA 1776. She can see the cockpit from her aircraft. A small figure. In a red hoodie. Sitting in the left seat. Flying a Boeing 737. Sarah, American 1776, Raptor Flight, NAS Oceana, we have visual. State your situation. Lily gives a full report. Precise. Military cadence. Her father's training in every single word. Sarah, professional, controlled, copy 1776. Aviation background, who taught you? Lily, my father. Colonel James Hayes. NAS Oceana. F/A-18. He died in 2017. Silence. Sarah cannot speak for 11 seconds. CNN has the feed. The whole world hears 11 seconds of silence on a live emergency frequency. Sarah's co-pilot, Sarah. Nothing. Commander Brooks. Nothing. 11 seconds. Then, Sarah's voice, rebuilt from pieces, military and human at the same time, both at once. Sarah, Ghost Rider. This is Raptor 1. This is Sarah Brooks. Lieutenant Commander. NAS Oceana. I folded your father's flag. I placed it in your hands. You were 11 years old. You looked at me and said, "He taught me everything." Lily. I believe you. I am on your wing. Your father's wing. Same as always. Tell me what you need. I am not going anywhere. Not for anything. Not ever. Let's go back. Before Lily walked to the cockpit. When she was still in seat 9C, with her notebook. Her father, Colonel James Hayes, died in 2017. In a training accident. Lily was 11 years old. The worst day of her life. But before he died, he taught her everything. He started when she was 7 years old. At 7, radio procedures. How to talk to ATC. The right words. The right way. At 8, aircraft identification. Every major aircraft. She could name them all. That's why her notebook was full of drawings. At 9, basic flight controls. In a simulator first. Then in his small Cessna. At 10, emergency procedures. What to do if the engine fails. What to do if a pilot is down. Every scenario. At 11, real simulator time. Advanced training. At 12, 47 real flight hours. In his Cessna. Real sky. Real controls. Real flying. He also told her something else. He told her about his call sign. His call sign was Ghost Rider. He said, "If you ever need it, use my call sign. Every pilot who knew me will know you. They will help you. I promise. She never used it. Until today. When Sarah asked her, aviation background, who taught you? Lily answered with his name, and then Sarah asked one more question. 1776, what is your call sign? Lily looked at her notebook, still in her lap. Still open to the page where she wrote, Dad, I think today is the day. She heard her father's voice in her head, if you ever need it, use my call sign. Every pilot who knew me will know you. And she said 2 words. Ghost Rider. The 11-second silence, heard around the world. Sarah Brooks LT Commander breaks down on live frequency, recovers, takes position on wing of AA, 1776. Ghost Rider. 2 words. Her father's call sign. Broadcast on CNN. The woman who folded his flag, was on her wing. 271 people were going home. The whole world was watching. Back in the cabin, Marcus Webb has not sat down. Not once. Since he stepped aside for Lily, he has been standing at the cockpit door. His back to the cabin. Facing the door. Nobody is getting near that door. Not on his watch. He is not a pilot. He cannot help Lily fly the plane. But he can do this. Sarah Chen, Seat 10A, Toronto, Canada, elementary school teacher, has been filming on her phone since the moment Lily walked forward. Her hand is shaking. But she doesn't stop filming. Something in her teacher's instinct tells her, this needs to be remembered. Oliver Thompson, Seat 9A, London, England, has his eyes closed. His lips are moving very slightly. He is praying. 30 years RAF. And right now, he is praying for a 13-year-old girl he met 2 hours ago. 3 rows back, a 6-year-old girl tugs her mother's sleeve. Child, Mommy, is the girl going to land it? Her mother is crying. She nods. Mother, yes, baby. Child, good. She looked like she could. James Wilson, ATC, Lily, NAS Oceana is ahead. Runway 23L, 12,000 feet long, that is the longest runway on the base. Winds are 230 at 8, that means the wind is going straight down the runway. Perfect conditions, Lily. You cannot ask for better than this. All emergency services are standing by. You are cleared direct. Come home. Sarah Brooks, on her wing, Ghost Rider, I'm going to talk you through every step. The same way your father talked his students through. Word for word. His words. Flaps 5 at 190 knots. Flaps 15 at 170 knots. Gear down at 1,500 feet. Flaps 30 on final. He told me those words 100 times. Now I'm giving them to you. Ready? Lily, ready. Marcus, standing at the cockpit door, puts his hand flat against the door. Just his hand. Flat on the door. Like he is trying to give her something through it. Steadiness. Belief. The thing fathers give their children. He is not her father. But he has a daughter her age. And right now, that is enough. That is everything. 800 feet above the ground. Virginia coast. Wind shear hits. This is a known problem in this area, sudden sharp changes in wind speed and direction close to the ground. It has caused accidents before. Even experienced pilots fear it. The plane drops 70 feet. Hard. Fast. The whole cabin screams. Marcus, hand still on the cockpit door, does not move. Sarah, Ghost Rider. But Lily is already correcting. Full power. Her hands on the controls. And something happens that Sarah Brooks will talk about for the rest of her life. The correction is not Lily's correction. It is her father's correction. The exact technique. The exact timing. The exact amount of power. Everything, Exactly the way Colonel James Hayes would have done it. Sarah has seen that correction before. Many times. She knows it like she knows her own name. The plane levels out. Back on the glide slope. 5 seconds. Sarah, voice breaking, then rebuilding, that's your father's hands. I've seen that correction before. That is exactly what he would do. Ghost Rider, you are perfect. 3 miles. Come home. Near disaster at 800 feet, wind shear, Virginia coast, Lily Hayes corrects, Sarah Brooks, perfect recovery. 300 feet. 200 feet. 100 feet. All news channels go quiet. The whole world, watching. 50 feet. 20 feet. Complete silence. The wheels touch down on runway 23L, Naval Air Station Oceana, Virginia Beach, Virginia. Tuesday. March 14, 2019. 3:33 p.m. Eastern Time. Her father's runway. The runway he flew from for years. His daughter, coming home. Smooth. As smooth as anything. Reverse thrust. Brakes. The plane slows. The plane stops. 8 seconds of silence. Then Marcus Webb, Navy SEAL, combat veteran, takes his hand off the cockpit door. He looks at his hand. Then he starts clapping. Slow. Hard. Certain. Oliver, eyes open, clapping. Sarah Chen, still filming, clapping. Then 271 people. Lily, Washington Center. American 1776. On the ground. Naval Air Station Oceana. Virginia Beach, Virginia. Tuesday. March 14, 2019. 3:33 p.m. Eastern Time. 271 souls. All safe. Captain Chen needs immediate cardiac care. First Officer Park needs medical attention. Thank you, James. Thank you, Dad. Ticker, AA, 1776 on the ground, NAS Oceana Virginia Beach, 271 souls all safe, Tuesday, March 14, 2019, 3:33 p.m. CNN, David Park, American Airlines 1776 is on the ground. 271 people. All safe. Tuesday. March 14, 2019. 3:33 p.m. Eastern Time. Landed by a 13-year-old girl from Richmond, Virginia. I have been in news 22 years. I have never. We'll take a break. BBC, James Cooper, American Airlines 1776 has landed safely at Naval Air Station Oceana in Virginia Beach, Virginia. 271 passengers. All safe. Landed by Lily Hayes, 13 years old, Richmond, Virginia, daughter of Colonel James Hayes, United States Air Force, killed in 2017. Colonel Hayes taught his daughter to fly. Today, she used that teaching to save 271 lives. In 30 years of broadcasting, I have only said this once before. Well done. CBC, Patricia Wong, Sarah Chen, Toronto, Ontario, is safe tonight. Her footage, of a 13-year-old girl walking to a cockpit while a Navy SEAL stepped aside, has been viewed 47 million times in the last 24 hours. The most watched video in Canadian history. Sarah texted her family from the tarmac. 3 words, she did it. Fox News, Michael Davis, Colonel James Hayes, United States Air Force, NAS Oceana, Virginia, died in 2017. He left behind a daughter. He taught her everything. Today, she saved 271 people. On his runway. With his call sign. On his base. Colonel Hayes, if you can hear this. She did good, sir. She did real good. Lily Hayes, 13, Richmond, Virginia, lands AA, 1776, 271 souls safe, Tuesday, March 14, 2019, 3:33 p.m., thank you Dad, heard on live radio, world will never forget. NAS Oceana, 3:47 p.m. Eastern. Marcus finds Lily outside the aircraft. Red hoodie. Notebook in her hand. Unaccompanied minor tag still around her neck. He kneels down. Navy SEAL. Combat veteran. He kneels down to her eye level. Marcus, my name is Marcus Webb. I have a daughter. Her name is Maya. She is 13 years old. Same as you. I stepped aside because I knew. From the moment you felt the autopilot fail, before the alarm, before anyone else, you knew. I have been in some very hard places. With some very tough people. You are the bravest person I have ever met. And I am going to tell Maya about you tonight. If that's okay. Lily looks at him. Lily, you have a daughter named Maya? Marcus, yes. Lily, tell her her dad is pretty brave too. He guarded my door the whole time. Marcus, Navy SEAL, combat veteran, does not cry. Except right now. Just this once. He does. Sarah Brooks walks to Lily. Out of her flight gear. She stops. Lily looks at her. Sarah reaches into her flight suit. Takes out a photograph. Colonel James Hayes. In his flight suit. NAS Oceana. Smiling. She hands it to Lily. Sarah, he kept this in his cockpit. Every flight. It's you. When you were little. On his aircraft. He showed everyone. Every single person. Every flight. He used to say, that's my daughter. She's going to be better than me someday. Lily. Today was that someday. Lily looks at the photograph. Herself, maybe 5 years old, in her father's flight helmet. Too big. Falling over her eyes. Both of them laughing. NAS Oceana. A Tuesday afternoon. A different Tuesday. A different year. Same runway. She holds the photograph against her chest. One word. Just one. Dad. CNN, 1 week later. 1 week after Tuesday, March 14, 2019, Lily Hayes returned to school at Westover Hills Middle School in Richmond, Virginia. She was late. She had been at NAS Oceana at an official ceremony held by the United States Navy. She was presented with the Navy's highest civilian honor. When they asked her to say a few words, she said, "My dad taught me. He gets the award. Not me." They gave it to her anyway. BBC, 1 week later. Oliver Thompson, retired RAF, London, England, gave a statement to the BBC when he returned to the UK. He said, "I have 30 years in the Royal Air Force. I have seen extraordinary pilots. What I saw on March 14, 2019, was the best flying I have ever witnessed. Bar none." She was 13 years old. She never once looked scared. I asked her later if she was scared. She said, "My dad told me, if you know what to do, there is nothing to be scared of." I knew what to do. I do not have better words than that. CBC, 1 week later. Sarah Chen, Toronto, Ontario, returned to her classroom the following Monday. Her students had seen the footage. A student asked, "Miss Chen, were you scared?" She said, "Yes. Very. But the girl wasn't." Sarah thought about this for a moment. No. She wasn't. Because she knew something the rest of us didn't. Her father had given her this moment. Years before it happened. He gave it to her and said, "When you need it, it will be there." And it was. Jennifer Ross, flight attendant, Miami, Florida, gave her first interview to Wavy TV 10 1 week after the flight. She sat across from anchor Michelle Hayes. Michelle asked, "Jennifer, when Lily walked toward you, what did you see?" Jennifer was quiet for a moment. "I saw a girl who already knew where she was going. I have flown with hundreds of pilots over 5 years. I know what they look like when they walk to their aircraft. There is a specific walk, it is different from regular walking. It is like they are already there. Already past the door. Already thinking about everything that comes after the door. Lily had that walk. I opened the door because I genuinely believed, in that exact moment, that she was the most qualified person on that aircraft to walk through it. I was not wrong. Her father made sure I was not wrong. He taught her everything years before she needed it. He just did not tell her exactly when she would need it. He trusted her to figure that part out herself. She figured it out. On a Tuesday afternoon. In a red hoodie. At 40,000 feet. She figured it out. He told Maya that night. March 14, 2019. He came home late, from NAS Oceana, Virginia Beach, and Maya was still awake. She had seen the news. She had seen the footage. Maya, Dad, were you on that plane? Marcus, yes. Maya, the girl who landed it, you were sitting next to her. Marcus, yes. Maya, did you help her? Marcus thinks about this. The Navy SEAL who stepped aside. Who guarded the door. Who cried on the tarmac. Marcus, I got out of her way. That was the most helpful thing I could do. Sometimes, getting out of the way, is the bravest thing. Maya, 13 years old, looks at her father. Maya, I want to be like her. Marcus, good. Start with getting out of your own way. That's what she did. Tuesday. March 14, 2019. 2:47 p.m. Eastern Time. 40,000 feet. Virginia coast. Autopilot failed. A Navy SEAL stood up. But the girl in seat 9C, Lily Hayes, Richmond, Virginia, 13 years old, was already flying. Her father gave her this moment, years before it happened. Radio procedures at age 7. Aircraft identification at age 8. Basic flight controls at age 9. Emergency procedures at age 10. Simulator training at age 11. 47 real flight hours at age 12. And on a Tuesday afternoon, in her red hoodie, with her notebook full of aircraft drawings, unaccompanied minor tag around her neck. She used it all. Ghost Rider. His call sign. Her inheritance. 271 people came home. So did she. Thank you, Dad. Heard on CNN. BBC. CBC. Fox News. Heard around the world. He heard it too. We choose to believe that.